Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back, and Guude, what am I driving?
Oh yeah, God, I want to go over there. Oh yeah, I bought. Bought it. We bought another truck in between episodes. There's a couple things were bought. We bought another truck. Where are you at?
I'm driving. It's super
Oh, yeah.
slow, but I'm driving the blue tractor
Let's see it.
with many.
Jeff's got some popping,
nice
and it's not on
things.
Jeff's side. It's on my side, everyone. So everyone knows it's all my fault, and I'll have to fix it. Something weird's happened sound card wise, and you just have to we'll have to love and live it. Love and live with it. Yeah.
Love and live it.
Yep. Yeah, you're driving the new, and so someone commented that particular mower would fill in the front, and I'm not so certain the one we had wouldn't either. But I tried it with the red tractor, and the red tractor couldn't handle it. We also installed some DLC. We installed the coon pack, not like raccoon, coon maybe coon's the right word. And it's got this cool baler here that picks up grass and wraps it.
Zoom out.
Yeah,
If I
I've
can,
also
if I
made
can
a bunch
finish
of money
this.
in episodes, which takes a million years to do. I'll have you all know. Is that the top speed you got there?
Going up this hill, it is. Hold on. Ah, there we go. Hold on. So it got it. So it's gonna wrap this thing, and I'm gonna pick up while it wraps.
It's fantastic. So this field here is ready to be picked up and actually mowed.
Wait.
You see the rows?
What do you mean and mode?
Well, grass has grown again while it's been sitting here.
Oh, so I mean, if I drive by it like this, am I gonna do a pick? Am I gonna do a double pickup here?
Yeah, you need to
I
drop
got
off
one.
that thing on the back
That's right.
there. Yeah.
Okay, so it's. I want to see what happens if I. Am I getting it double yield? So you tried to put this on the red tractor and it wouldn't take. Oh,
Front. Yeah, I think it's because we got that front thing on the red tractor.
So that's interesting. So one of our bigger ones might have actually worked just fine. So I should have
Yeah.
stopped.
What people are actually saying is, remember that one I talked about that
The sideways
that
one.
folds out?
Yeah.
Well, no, not the sideways one, but the one that folds out and there's like the middle strip is not taken.
Oh,
Apparently
yeah.
the best way to do that is have one on the front and then the one on and then those on the back. Which kind of makes sense. So actually the grass you're picking up here is already mowed twice. I've been testing how to make money while in between our last recording session. And what I found is that you can't really fuck my life.
Well, what you found is that this truck will run right into the side of a tractor.
Wrecking into tractors is the real way to glitch the system and make it possible. Since it takes so long to bell wrap this, with only one of us, or like with only me online basically, needed the other fields doing something on their own that the workers could do. So what I've been doing is having both of those growing soybean constantly, and this one growing grass. And the way it works out, like time wise, is this grass will grow twice in between all the soybean harvesting and before it's time to like speed up time and make everything grow again.
Okay.
So what I've been doing is like I'll mow this one and then I'll fertilize it and then I'll end up having to do that again before it's time, like before that other field, those other fields get completely mowed and picked and all that. So then you end up with these double rows of grass. Like the grass that's here on the ground is actually 2 mows worth. So you're getting a third mow as you're mowing it too. So you're probably getting quite a bit of grass as you move along here, because it's 3 growths worth, if that makes sense.
Now, what happens if we hire a worker while I have the baler on?
I think he'll completely ignore the baler and he'll just worry with mowing the grass.
Let's find out. Hire. So I got him hired right now. I'm going to see what happens when this thing actually fills up all the way. If he drops it off, or if it just will stay
If
there.
he does,
forever.
then things are fantastic. 'Cause,
It's,
I mean,
it's picking up still.
no, it's not. Look. Oh well, you know what? I guess it might still be.
Now the
You know
question
what?
is,
The baler. You had the baler on.
I did have the baler on.
Yeah.
The question, but he's got to drop this thing when it's done.
Right. If he drops this thing, then we're pretty golden. I mean, he did leave. He didn't stop. He left that big swath back there.
Oh, he's not dropping.
No, he's not. He's not a dropper.
And I can't even hit Y, like, to make him drop it while he's...
Yeah,
You have to, like, dismiss him and
H
then
him out.
hire him again every time.
Yeah, no, that ain't no good. That ain't no good
Well,
at all.
he's gonna get blocked by an object. Oh, nope, he don't...
course he is.
What the hell? You don't care.
Oh yeah, no, they just run over those until they get completely stuck, basically.
Great. So yeah, that's kind of annoying. Whoa. Oh, I hit the wrong button. That's why.
So this field, double grown, is $120,000. Is what it yields in bells.
Oh yeah, I actually forgot to log into the admin panel, so I have no idea how much money we have right now.
We have 280,000 right now.
And that's with purchasing this equipment, obviously.
Right. We were up to 300,000. I just switched mowers, and so that knocked us down a bit. That coon thing on the back there, whatever the hell it's called. It is 130,000 is what it cost. I think that's the only thing I've bought of any significance other than playing with mowers. So we really haven't missed out on much. And we have a shitload of soybean in the silo, like I think 60,000 or so.
Oh, that's a decent amount of soybean.
I mowed down some trees because it's impossible to move around with this giant. So what do you want to get up into today?
So, so this is interesting. I took a trip to Michigan last week. So I was back visiting the family and got to do the whole good old airport thing. And let me first off say, anybody out there who flies, if you're waiting for your luggage, for the love of God, there is no reason to crowd the luggage carousel. Take 2 fucking steps backwards, wait till you see your bag, and then step forward. More people fit in a bigger circle than everybody jammed up against the damn carousel so that nobody can see what's going on and what bags are coming just because you want to be there when your bag comes.
I've totally hit people with my bags before.
Oh my God.
On purpose. Out of anger. Like, could you please fucking move so I can get my fucking bag?
It makes no sense to me because you sit there and I stand back because I know more people can fit in this bigger circle than a smaller circle up against the carousel. Everybody can now also see. So let's sit in a place where everybody can see their bag. And when you see your bag, step forward. So I'll be standing there like 2 feet, 3 feet back from the luggage carousel. And then somebody just walks in front of me. And they often don't even necessarily go all the way up to the carousel. They literally just stand in front of me. And it's just like, really? Are you fucking joking me right now? Like, or especially little kids, but I mean, I can't really get upset with them because they really don't know any better.
Really.
Well, and they just don't necessarily know any better. They want to see their bag, so they go running up to the front. And those kids, I get, whatever. Usually there's not so many of them that you can't see through them to the luggage carousel anyway, so they're not as big of a problem. But so yeah. But if you that is always a pet peeve of mine when I'm like traveling. But besides that,
I hate everyone that does that at the terminal too. Like, now boarding people that with infants or whatever.
Oh,
everyone stands up.
They all stand in
the way.
They block it too. They block the entrance like they're somehow. Well, when all these people are done, it's going to be my turn, even though all the people are trying to get on behind them because they're blocking the way to the entrance. I never understood that at all. That always baffles me. The only good reason about getting on a plane early, in my opinion anyway, unless you're like really tired and just want to lay down, but is to make sure you have an overhead space. Right. Other than that, there's no reason to need to get on the plane.
People try to get on is the whole overhead issue.
I mean, it might be like that is a legitimate reason, and I get that, especially now with the limited number of carry-on space because so many people have normal bags and everything that they try to bring with them because it costs money to check them, it costs money to check your luggage anymore. I actually flew on a flight that I didn't know when I purchased the ticket. They didn't really advertise it until afterwards that it was one of those cheap tickets that you're not allowed to have a full-size carry-on. Like, they will charge you at the gate an extra $25 plus the check fee if you show up with a carry-on, a normal size carry-on, because the specific ticket that you bought was not supposed to be for that.
Wow, that's a bullshit ticket.
And, well, I didn't know that the ticket that I bought was like that because I bought it from, like, Travelocity or Expedia or one of those, one of those sites that had a better deal. So I wish they had advertised it a little bit more clear. But luckily, when I checked in, they made it very, very clear that that was the case. So I, purchased this, spent the $25 to check my bag, which kind of sucked, but whatever. It was better than getting charged double at the gate because I didn't realize it. So I've never missed a flight before, like a connection. I've been lucky and always had made it on time. I've cut it close a couple times with like a delayed flight getting someplace. One time I actually came so close, the only reason I made my connection is because my connection was actually delayed by an hour.
Oh wow.
So yeah, well, I was
What happens at that point? Are you at fault? Do they fix it for you, or do they just like, well, buy a ticket, or what happens?
Oh no, I'm pretty sure they fix it for you usually when that happens. That they take care of, I think. I mean, I've never, like I said, I've never actually missed the connection to where I needed that to be taken care of for me. I've missed a flight once because it was like a 6 a.m. flight and I had set my alarm on accident for like 4 p.m. instead of 4 a.m. to go to the airport, and I realized that mistake, so I had to pay an extra $75 and get a later flight. But
oh, so they don't.
No, that was like that was completely my fault. Like I had to pay for that on my own. But it's not like a full ticket. It was like you have to pay like this change fee plus the difference with the flight or something like that. And I think my flight was actually, it was like the same price, so I didn't have to pay any difference, but I had to pay like the $75 change fee. Because in theory, could just charge you for the full ticket and be like, well, fuck it. Though I think knowing that they can oversell flights and then give it to standby, that would be kind of a bullshit claim if they did still charge you the full ticket no matter what, because then they're just overselling a plane.
You know they filled that seat.
Yeah, you know that seat's going to get filled. But, so I've never missed a connection before. I came so close to missing my plane, my connecting flight in Chicago going back to Michigan because of the craziest reason in the world. I was walking up toward the plane because it was boarding, and I was actually I was at a restaurant grabbing a beer before this, so it took the waitress forever to give me my bill. I was actually worried. Like, I tried to ask for it super early, and she didn't bring it over until super late, and then I like basically gave her my credit card when she came over, and I'm like, snap it up, I gotta go, and she still was like super delayed in doing something. I had to go find her.
That's kind of bullshit. You would think at the airport that they know the deal.
Yeah, you would think, but of course not. So I'm walking through O'Hare over toward my gate, and I see there's like, I was in some like B20 or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but walking up to it is like B15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and like plane on B15 was also boarding. And it was one of those situations where I walked up to it and there were so many people just like crowded around. For one, I thought it was my flight at first because I just thought it was like boarding. So I'm looking around going, but this is like so far away from my gate. This doesn't make sense that there's all these people here. But why are there so many people just like stuffed in the middle of the walkway and not even up in the front section? So I start walking and trying to get around these people, and I look down and I realize there's a dude just laying on the ground. And I was like, what the hell? And I was like, okay, and I looked, and it looked like somebody had like fallen and they were injured or something like that. So there was actually most of the people. Why is this not picking up anymore? What did I do? Hold on. Oh, stop. Turn on Baylor. I somehow turned off my Baylor on accident. There we go. So I look down and I'm like, okay, this guy's hurt or something. I don't know what's going on. But there's some people crowded around him, but most of the people are crowded around like way to the side next to him. And I see this one guy on the ground, and all of a sudden he goes, he doesn't have a pulse, so I'm going to start CPR. And Jesus. I was like, what? And I looked over and I looked down at the ground and I realized that this guy, I thought it was an old guy that was like injured. It was this young dude who was completely like gray in the face, and one guy is sitting there like grabbing his neck, and there's like some other lady hunched down next to him, but all these other people are literally just standing around. So all this crowd was for these people around this guy that was laying on the ground, but people weren't
They're
doing...
just like gawkers, basically?
Yeah, they weren't really doing anything, which is something that you hear that happens in the real world, like, a lot. So I dropped down to my knees, and I'm like at the dude's head, and I'm looking, and I just looked at some guy, and I was like, did anybody actually call for help? And I swear to God, this guy looks at me and goes, yeah, and he like rolls his eyes as if like he's been asked 5 times, and he's just sick of people asking if anybody's called for help. So, and I look over at the guy, and I start to reach down to grab this guy's neck, because this guy had yelled he doesn't have a pulse, he's going to start CPR, so he starts doing chest compressions, and I look, and this guy he's breathing, but not well, but he is breathing, so I'm pretty confident he was having a seizure and not, like, you know, pulseless and on the ground, and I was like, whoa, he's breathing, like, hang tight a minute, he's breathing, and the guy's like, I don't feel a pulse, I'm starting CPR, and I was like, but he's breathing, like, I can see him, he's breathing right now. And the guy just goes, and this was kind of amazing, actually, in a really good and bad way. He goes, is anybody here a nurse? Like, that's the first thing he says. He doesn't ask for a doctor. He asks if anybody here is a nurse. And
that's perfect.
You know, well, and that's what I looked at him and I said, I'm a nurse. And the lady next to me goes, yeah, I'm a nurse too. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird. And she goes, I was like, he is breathing. And she's like, he's not going to hurt anything. Just let him start CPR. And I'm like, you know what? That's actually kind of right. If it's a random bystander, like this guy obviously wasn't like a medical professional, but he must have taken like a CPR class. And it is. If you can't definitively feel a pulse, you should start CPR. You really shouldn't start CPR on a person who's breathing, but I cannot guarantee to you that this guy was breathing to an extent that he was like being productive in his breaths. Because I only watched him.
Don't your lungs continue to kind of move? Like,
and they do. He was like foaming and spit and vomit coming out of his mouth and stuff too.
Oh, God.
Which is another reason I'm pretty confident it was a seizure. Just the whole thing, I'm 99% sure it was a seizure. But so this guy's like slamming on his chest, and I'm just like, okay, it's me and this other nurse here, and this one guy who's doing CPR and like chest compressions. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna reach up and make sure this guy's airway stays clear until we find out what's going on, because they called somebody, you know, obviously somebody called for help, despite how pissed off they were about having to call for help. So I just like start wiping like saliva and like vomit out of this dude's mouth as he's like laying on the ground. Jesus. And he, after about 30 seconds of this guy doing chest compressions, the guy's eyes open straight up, and he sits up, and I was like, okay, now you can stop doing the CPR. Like, he's up, he's breathing, like, stop. And answering questions at this point. Like, we stopped, and I was just like, are you okay? Like, do you know where you're at? Like, I was just said, are you okay? And he, like, shook his head yes. And I was like, do you know where you're at? And he kind of, like, looked around. You could tell he was, like, extremely confused and had no idea what was happening. But he was completely awake and alert, and which doesn't happen from, you know, doing CPR. Right away. So another reason why I'm quite confident it was a seizure, and the CPR was quite unnecessary, but at the same time, in the grand scheme of things, his chest might hurt tomorrow, but that's not going to kill him, so whatever. I'd rather somebody actually do something than nothing at all. And I was like, before he sits up, when I just saw him breathing, I like reached over and I grabbed his neck, and I'm like, I feel a pulse. And the guy was like, the guy who started the CPR, he was so proud of himself. He was like, oh my God, he went from no pulse to a pulse. We saved him. And he's like shaking his hand in the air like in triumph. And this woman next to me, this other nurse goes, oh yeah, or this other woman that sat down at the time, and she goes, yeah, I feel a radial pulse too. And I'm thinking, okay, like, who really cares that you feel a radial pulse as well? Like, we got to pulse the guy's breathing, like, on his neck. And the nurse, of all things, she just goes, I also feel a pedal pulse down here, which is the one on the top of your foot. Like, a very pointless pulse to feel in a CPR situation. So I was just like, okay. You got to remember, I'm a couple beers in at this point as well. Like, I'm not sitting there. I'm not the most sober of people randomly at this airport. However, at this point, I am now covered with like vomit and saliva. And this guy's getting up. His wife comes running up and is asking what happened. And I was asking her if he had any medical history, and she says, no, not at all. I'm like, but he's like, now he's up and kind of confused, but he's a little bit coherent. And I look down at my watch, and my plane is like leaving in 4 minutes or something like that. So I was like, and I just kind of glanced around at everybody, and there's still no like EMTs or medical professionals there yet. But I was like, okay, this guy's breathing. This guy's obviously alive. There's this other nurse here. And I literally just stood up and walked over and walked onto the plane. And this lady at the ticketing counter that I had to walk by, she's kind of like looking at me like, are you serious? Like that dude just is like walking onto a plane after all that? Like nothing happened? And of course I get on the plane and I'm like, okay, first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'm walking to the bathroom and I'm going to, you know, clean all this shit off my hands. I don't have gloves or anything like that.
Right.
And of all planes that I walk into, it's one that I guess the pilots decided to just open up the cabin and let everybody who wanted to like trump into the cabin and go take a look at everything that's going on in there. So they're blocking all the ways into the bathroom. So I'm standing there with my like hands just like straight up at like in the air, kind of like like what do I really want to do at this point? Do I just go sit down and then eventually make it to the bathroom? And I was like,
God.
I just like one of the flight attendants noticed me and was like, do you need something? And I was like, yeah, I was just helping some guy with CPR out there, and I kind of need to clean up before I sit down in my seat. So they ended up kicking everybody out of the cabin so that I could go to the bathroom on the way to the plane, which I feel bad about because how often do you get to see the inside of a cockpit, like on a plane, or not the cabin, like the cockpit area? How often do you get to go see the cockpit? But you know, I had to like do something, and then so as I'm going into the bathroom, it's so funny because the other people start walking out of the plane, so I wasn't like the last one to board. These other people apparently were just out there watching because they came in talking like all triumphantly about how some people just saved some dude in the you know, the terminal, and how he's alive now, he's got a pulse and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, why are you getting on the plane so late when you didn't do anything? Like you just watched. Like, there was only 3
If he
of
hadn't
us.
got up, would they have missed their damn plane?
I don't know. I know I would have missed the plane if he hadn't gotten up, because like I couldn't leave a guy until like at least advanced help had gotten there, you know, because they hadn't gotten there yet. So then the last thing about this story is so I finally sit down on the plane, like I made it. This dude's alive, even though I'm pretty confident he was going to be alive anyway, because like I said, seizure, not active CPR, but he obviously needed medical attention of some type, but whatever. So we sit down and the pilot comes on and he goes, so we're going to be slightly delayed in our takeoff here because there was apparently an emergency situation in the terminal and the fire trucks and ambulances are blocking our plane in the on the tarmac. And I was like, oh my god, like I'm sitting here on the plane now after all this and we can't even leave because the ambulances and the fire trucks, like, not that I care that they came and like blocked it, but it's just funny that I was like making sure I got to the plane after all that and kind of like you're like, sneaking onto the plane at the last second after performing some CPR out there. Then we get blocked in by the same thing that I was out there doing.
It's fantastic.
But yeah, I'm curious, like, what exactly would the airline have done if I had missed my plane for performing medical services?
Would not have cared.
Well, that's especially in the wake of all the problems that the airline industry has faced. They'd have probably been like, oh, whatever, sir. It's your fault. You got to pay the transfer fee for the next plane.
You could make a YouTube video. It could have gone viral.
That's probably true, but it's a lot. Yeah, I guess it could have. I wonder if anybody actually taped that. So there's so many gawkers around. Somebody had to have taped that.
Oh, I'm sure someone had a camera out.
Somebody has to have a picture of me just randomly after some guy sits up after people are doing CPR who gets up and just walks onto a plane.
Best part.
I mean, it's because I didn't do anything like in the grand scheme of, you know, saving anybody. I wasn't the one performing the CPR because the other guy was doing it, which give him all the props in the world whether he needed to or not. But like I said, much rather somebody did start CPR than not when it would have been needed. But it's just such a weird situation that I've dealt with medical emergencies in just like public before, but never anything that possibly severe.
How often do people just randomly have seizures that have never had seizures in their life?
Not often. Not when they're in their like 30s and stuff. Granted, I mean, the guy was with his wife and kids and stuff, but he was. I would guess he was in his mid 30s. Like he was a young guy.
So where were they?
So they walked up afterwards. So I'm not sure where they were at exactly, but the wife was holding like a 2-year-old. So they couldn't have been that far. But one does have to wonder.
She didn't know he was on the ground?
Not until like partway through, while he was like in the middle of whatever episode he was having when she walked up. And she was like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And like she walked up while the guy was still actually doing CPR. And I was like, "Does he have any medical history?" And she said no. Like, it's like, "Did he have a history of seizures? Does he have any cardiac history? Any medical history of any type?" And she said no. And amazingly, she sat there relatively calm. You could see she was worried. But she sat there and didn't like interfere and just kind of like sat there with wide eyes watching it all like go down. And I'm sure she felt a sigh of relief when he got up. But yeah, you do wonder, is there drugs involved?
Right.
It might have been random.
He could have taken something like for anxiety or something for the flight, right?
Oh yeah, that just didn't agree with him. Yeah, for sure. It could have been a lot of things that happened. I'd love to see. I actually tried to look up any articles I could find on anything like that, and it's really hard because apparently at O'Hare Airport they have CPR kiosks or something like that where you can actually learn CPR at the airport while you're waiting for your flight, which is funny. I found this out by trying to look up like CPR at O'Hare Airport, and it's in the news a lot when you look stuff up like that because apparently some college kid stopped at one of the kiosks on a long layover, learned CPR, and ended up using it like 2 days later and saving somebody. Wow. So it made some like huge headlines, but I couldn't find anything about that particular situation. So whether it just never got out there, reporters didn't know about it, like I have no idea. And I also
would you get on your flight at that point? Like if you were that guy?
Dude, no, he was asking to, or his wife was. I don't know who it was that was asking to. Maybe it was him that was actually saying something when he was actually saying some words about if he was going to make his flight, and we told him no. Like, no, you're not.
So they wouldn't even let you, would they?
I mean, well, nobody from there was not a single airport personnel involved. I did not see a single airport person there. It was a bystander that somebody told to go run and get the AED. Went and got the AED, but they didn't put it on or anything. He didn't even get back until after the guy was like back up. And I think somebody literally called 911 as opposed to like grabbing like a flight agent or ticket agent and having them call like internally, because that's why the ambulance and fire truck showed up the back and no security people within the airport were there.
Wow.
So I have absolutely.
To me, that seems like it's like almost like a commotion that would attract their attention, regardless.
Well, they might have just thought everybody was trying to board this stupid flight because there was a bunch of them leaving, like I did. I shit you not. I was like 2 rows of people away from this guy, so there was like 2 people between me and this guy when I finally noticed that there was a guy on the ground, and I didn't even think twice of it. I thought somebody like fell and people were like trying to help them because I see people fall a lot and other people are there trying to make sure that they're not injured. I saw a woman
fall today. We went to lunch and like
you and this woman.
No, me, my grandma, and my daughter all went to lunch, and I was helping my grandma get out of the car and get in because she could barely walk at this point. But like she asked you to walk her, and even then it's like I don't even know. It's not great. But we were getting all inside the door and like. My daughter was holding the front door for it. I was walking in to grab the second. That's like one of those restaurants that have like the double doors, like one chamber basically, like an airlock. Anyways,
you are now with the airlock.
And this old woman missed the step up the stoop, and she fell. And I heard her head hit the fucking concrete, and it was like, oh,
that's the worst kind of fall.
Yeah.
And did you like look up in the air and?
Do what?
Did you look up in the air and just go? Just keep on walking.
Oh no! Like the like one of the waitresses or something had come out like whenever saw my grandma trying to get in to try to help, and she saw that happen and like ran and grabbed the woman, And they like ushered her inside and got her a table.
Got her a table? And she sat down and proceeded to order breakfast.
Yeah, she did. Like, I kept looking over there like the whole time we were eating, like, you know, expect like this woman to start vomiting or something from like some kind of head trauma. And no, she ordered salmon and had her lunch with their family.
Wow.
But it was fucking loud whenever she hit. I was convinced that she was in a bad shape.
It's a pretty beastly old lady.
Yep, she just kept on.
Yeah. So I've seen a lot of people fall. I can't say a lot of people fall, but I've seen a decent amount of falls in my day of like just people walking. And at an airport before too, I walked across somebody before who was lying on the ground, and I was like, "You okay?" And she was like, "I just got really dizzy and, you know, tripped." And so I called somebody, and they like the internal EMTs came over to her, but then I just like walked about my business, like nothing else I'm going to do at that point. So I was not expecting to walk upon this, but like I said, I don't think anybody really that worked there knew what was happening, and
that's so crazy to me.
Yeah, I can't imagine how you wouldn't. But at the same time, like, that guy who was just so... Like, that's the thing that sticks out to me the most in this whole situation was, did anybody actually call, like, for help? Yeah. Like, okay, asshole. Like, that's the thing that drives me nuts. And he was just standing there watching, like, who's this more? Where'd this guy come from? Like, of course we call for help, dumbass. Like,
he probably thought you were just, like, some random that decided that you were a better help than he was without realizing that you actually had qualifications.
Well, at the same time, who knows? I could have been like, who called for help? Because, you know.
Yeah, just wasted. It's like, why is this drunk breathing on me?
I mean, I only had 2 beers, so it wasn't that many beers. But
why is some of this grass unmowed? That's so weird. Is it just like, am I just desynced here? Like, is this grass where I'm at right now mowed?
Yes. There's a strip or 2 maybe in the middle.
Right.
No, it's not. No, it's not mowed. I think I'm picking it up right when it's getting mowed.
Is your mower on? Your mower must be off.
No. I don't think. Wait.
It's got to be.
Damn
You're
it.
not mowing the ground.
It was.
Shame.
It was off, so not as much yield. I assumed I picked it all up, though.
Well, you would, but the grass would be mowed. This is tall grass.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. So, yeah. That was missed. This thing's giving a lot of yield, though, for sure.
Well, yeah, that's 2 growth cycles already on the ground. So we should buy some fields, I think.
I would agree. We can get some, once we actually stop this episode, I'm going to log into the admin panel so I can understand how much money we have with all these
Right,
panels.
we're at 314 right now. I went and sold a bit of soy, but the price is dropping. In fact, right after I sold, well, no, it's still 1,700, but it's still dropping. I don't know if I should go try to sell it all while it's still 1,700 or wait for it to go back up.
And how much have you said?
I just sold 21,000. We got 50,000 more.
I mean, what's the highest we've ever seen soy?
I saw it at 1,800 yesterday when I was playing.
I mean, it doesn't seem like too much of a difference, though, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I should keep running soy. So I'll do that.
You know, what is the button to turn the mower on and off?
You got to have that
it's
tool
B,
selected,
okay.
and then it's B.
Oh, okay. Because I turned off the baler at one point. I wonder if it also turned off the mower when I had done that. I mean, I might have just screwed up and not had it on for part of the field somehow.
I think you have to have it selected to just toggle it, but I'm not sure. I'm going to go see what these fields right here near us cost.
God, this double baler is amazing.
Yeah.
The fact that it does 2 and it wraps at the same time is just...
Right. Like, stopping to wrap was the part that sucked to me. Like, having to sit there and wrap. That's all you were doing was wrapping.
Have we tried with this random, you know, coon, whatever it is, to bale or wrap
No,
straw?
we have not.
I'm curious what would happen. I mean, Because it would probably bale it, and then would it just stick it out the back, not wrapped? Would it wrap it and sell it as
I feel like it would
silage?
stick it there, and then you'd have to fucking drop it. I feel like, but I don't know. I thought about that the other day when I was doing it. I'm gonna buy all these fields around us. I'm gonna buy 19, 23, and 24.
Hold on. 19, 23, and 24. How about Lonely Little 16?
I'm 16 too. Let's start with 19's 40 something thousand. Hold on. 46,000. I'm gonna buy that one for sure.
That's a cheap one. Okay.
It's ours.
We have now expanded our landmass.
All right, let's see what 16 costs real quick.
But this actually takes a long time to build this field still.
I do want to get 11. Yeah, it does take a long ass time.
Yeah, 11's the one over there by the sheep, right?
Yeah. All right,
How
let's
are
see
the sheep
here.
doing?
I just went over there and fed them and watered them and all that. See, 16 is 76,000. I was
Okay.
accidentally hitting the flashlight before I get in my vehicle, so I'm like shining the light.
Do we have enough tractors? How many tractors do we got?
We need more. We need to sell our red tractor and buy another one. But this tractor of the same type as that red one is 100,000.
Okay. And we have 3 tractors right now.
Right.
But if we buy all these fields, we're going to need more.
We do need more for sure. Hey, maybe we should save up and buy another tractor. I still want to buy that quad.
The 400 and some odd thousand one.
Yeah. 24 is 85,000. And 23 is probably going to be a little more. It's a little bigger. 23 is 151,000.
You bought one more already, right?
Yeah, I bought 19.
What was the cheapest one? Of the
19
ones that
was
are
the
left?
cheapest one. I think 24 was the next cheapest one.
Because I'd be okay with buying the next cheapest one and then saving up for a tractor. Because we're going to have way too much to do with too little equipment otherwise.
Right. Okay. I'm just planting... You know what? I'm going to actually switch. I'm going to plant canola on this other one. I think canola's still selling.
Yeah, we're going to need another harvester at some point too, huh?
You know, I think we should buy something and start trying out sunflower and corn as well.
Oh,
we
yeah,
just
we
need
should.
to buy a new header. It's all we would need, and a different planter that can actually plant it.
We still have the potato stuff we can work on.
We do have potato stuff. I hate it.
But if we put a worker on it, won't that make it better?
I mean, it's still, you still have to manually unload. That's the problem.
Oh yeah, that's right. That is annoying. Do a small enough field.
Yeah, if we bought like 18 over there, maybe, or even something smaller. I don't know what the smallest field is, but whatever the smallest field is. Will he replant here? Yes, he will. All right. I'm planting canola over here in our new field.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna get 24 as well then.
And we own
All
two
right,
new
now
fields.
on 24.
I feel like we're just rich now. Except
Oh,
all
it
the
took-
money just went away.
Right. It took so many days too. It felt good to get all that stuff, but it took days.
What day are we on? Did it tell you somewhere?
I don't know if it does, honestly. You can see, you know, it doesn't. It just shows like the number of. It just shows like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and today.
So it took 7
thing.
days.
Well, I don't know what day of the game I started selling. Yeah, well, here's where I started selling some soybeans. So it was a couple of game days before that. I did repay part of our loan, not a lot of it, but like.
Oh, I forgot we
200.
had that. I forgot we had that big loan.
Yeah, we have 300,000 still.
But the interest on that is so much less than it would have been to buy a new tractor. Or then no,
Yeah.
keep the old tractor, I mean.
Right. Okay, that's planning. Let's see here. What do we need to do?
And these bales are worth the exact same amount as the other side. Like, it didn't change what they are, right?
Right.
Because they are different colors, so it threw me off when I first saw
you
them.
you can actually go edit that thing and change it to like purple and pink. There's a bunch of different colors. It just shows green.
Pink bales.
Yeah.
We call this the Princess Farm.
Oh, I did buy the Coon Pack had a new fertilizer in it that I bought that is double the size of the old one we had.
Okay.
I mentioned that.
And do we have like? I mean, I guess we don't need to buy seed for it if we just put worker in all the time.
Yeah, it's always hire workers, so I don't have to worry about buying fertilizer. But it does do real wide.
I'm waiting for the comments to start rolling in to tell you to quit wasting your money on buying workers.
Would you stop hiring workers? That'll be rich. Okay, that's planning.
This thing's gonna need more. Did we ever buy a gas station?
A gas station? We
Yeah,
bought a gas tank. Remember, it's over there beside the barn.
Okay, I couldn't remember if we had actually bought it or not, or if I was.
It might need to be refilled. I don't know the last time I filled it. I've only filled it once. I don't know how much is in it though.
Because I'm running relatively low on the fuel.
Yeah, I haven't been filling the red one up because I keep thinking I'm going to sell it.
Well, this is the blue one.
Yeah, that's the other one I've been not filling up, I think. Has it got 69 hours or something like that on it?
66.
Yeah, we need to sell both that one and the red one, sadly, and buy new ones. But then after that, we should save for another one.
I mean, I guess in the interim, we can just lease some tractors, can't we?
I guess we could if we need to, yeah.
Yeah, to get those other fields like going better.
But we'll have to buy planters too if we're going to do anything with them, you know?
Just lease some planters. Lease the world. Let's lease some fields.
A lease life. What the fuck is the?
I mean, there's a lot of people who do live a lease life, and I personally don't get it. At the same time, I say that though, my car is currently in the shop, so.
What happened to your car?
I don't know. I came back from Michigan, went to get in it. I hit the button. It's a push button start. It's a hybrid to turn it on, and it just goes stop or safely stop now. And I was like, what? And apparently some random generic error that happens in hybrids that you have to take it to the shop for. So,
wow.
I couldn't drive it, couldn't move it, didn't let me do anything. So it is now in the shop.
Jeez. I
did utilize my roadside assistance though, for the first time ever, because I was like, I don't know how to get this thing to the shop. No, it's part of my extended warranty I have on the car. I guess it covers like things like that. I do have AAA as well, but I figured why use AAA that I pay for separately that I can use else times. Let me at least use this, you know, warranty coverage that once the warranty's gone, it's gone. So,
right. Hey, this truck actually pulls this bell picker up without flying up in the air.
Oh, really? So that's one less tractor need.
Yeah. And we're at time too, so we gotta go.
All right, guys, I'm basically finished with this field. So this episode was me doing one grass field.
Hey, man, you made 100 grand though. It's like 120,000 to do this whole field.
I'd like to see my split of that. Please PayPal it to me.
Right. All right, we'll see you guys next time.
All right, see ya.